Keeping the spark alive is tough. After working all day, making dinner, attempting to finish the laundry, and putting the kids to bed, there's little time for any flame to flicker. Or maybe that honey just isn't attracting the bee like it used to. Why are you wearing your sweatpants to bed, girl? And hey, could you pretend to be a little romantic? We're back with our panel to talk about that. Okay, so sex, we certainly know, can be something that can add great joy to a relationship, make people feel closer, all those things, but it also can create a lot of pain. Michael, your book, Cheat to Save Your Marriage. So tell us a little bit more about what happened. You talked about earlier that you two just weren't communicating and it was just not a happy atmosphere.
Yeah, it was pretty much a breakdown in the whole household period. And so what happened was I found myself engaged in another woman. And before you know it, this situation came about that I was 7 months into this relationship with this affair. And it's just because that we didn't have a communication, we didn't have a lot of things together, sexual, what, the whole 9 yards. I was sleeping upstairs, she was sleeping downstairs. And that had been going on for a while, so finally I just broke down and I went out and found someone else. Yeah,
so it's almost like abandonment. And so emotionally somebody filled that void for you.
That's right. And so it's most important to communicate these things way in advance. And to have these things in place, communication about how you're feeling, you know, we're not connecting, let's create a time where we go on a date once a week, let's make time to have sex. Just like you mentioned, we're busy, we're working, we're dealing with the kids, but we need to remember that as long as we're creating a sense of unity with ourselves and we're connecting intimately, that's most important.
Yeah,
you don't have to
intimately,
have all this
like you said, doesn't mean sex. Yeah,
it doesn't have to be all this wild sex that we're having that when we were dating. And a lot of it can be, you know, we're going to cuddle and we're going to just have some alone time at night. And maybe every time before we go to bed, we just spend 20, 30 minutes talking about how was your day.
Yeah.
Tell me the good things that happened to you and things that I appreciate and love about you.
When you say cheat to save your marriage, you're not advocating that people all go out and cheat. But what it was is that this was a crisis point. It's make it or break it up, because it got to that point where you're either going to stay together for the rest of your life or attempt to or part ways.
Well, I actually came up with the book Cheat to Save Your Marriage prior to my situation. It just so happened that I found myself in it, in this experiment, you know, that I went through for this book. The book is based off 12 people, men and women, that are married, and they find themselves cheating because the wife or husband is lacking in sex, emotional, financial, all those types of reasons. And what happens is you find someone else on the side to balance that. Yeah. And so when you have issues at home, it's not an issue because someone else on this side is actually taking care of those issues.
Yeah, and when we talk about like lacking or withholding sex, oftentimes it's not really about sex, it's about something else emotionally tied to it.
Yeah, it is, because I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Reason being is because, I mean, without communication, I mean, you're not really into the sexual mood, so you don't want to have sex necessarily, you know, so it's just a breakdown period.
I think it's the core part of a relationship is when a woman wants to feel beautiful and a man wants to feel strong.
Yeah.
And when they're both lacking that, especially from each other, of course they're not going to be attracted to each other at that point. So it starts to break down, and once they get to a point where they say, you know what, I'm gonna connect with my spouse. I want to make him be the strong man that, you know, I love and I adore, and once you get into that, you actually go into a game plan almost.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like anything else that you want to do. You make a game plan, you rev up for it, you exercise almost, and that's the core, the strength and the beauty.
Yeah, Tony?
Deborah, I'm gonna say two things to get all my guys mad at me.
Okay.
So we get letters from the guys here. Two things. One, as men, we got to seduce our wives. It sounds like an oxymoron. I'm sorry. You know, hey, player, turn on your wife. I'm sorry. You got to do that. And it's exciting, too. Second thing, too, is, I mean, direct cheating, obviously that's a big issue. I think what we guys get away with and don't really call cheating is this emotional cheating.
Yes, yes.
Be it a person or a job.
Yeah, if you're invested in something else more than you are that partner in your life, then it is cheating of some sort.
And I'm glad Tony brought that up, you know, because you do have to initiate sex, especially as women. So you've got to be able to try new things, get out of your comfort zone, try new ways to have fun with sex.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to note, am I comfortable with my own body? And if you're not comfortable with your body, your partner's definitely not going to be comfortable with you.
And can I just say that most of the time, men, y'all don't care, do you? You don't care. It's like, oh, I have a piece of cellulite right here. Not tonight, honey. You're like, I don't care. And then the kind of the time thing. It's like, you know, we're washing dishes and all of a sudden, okay, let's work our way up to it. Work our way up to it.
Yeah, you know, basically having some time to warm up and, you know, have some maybe role playing and do some of those things that kind of get the spice going.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did we have there's a comment from someone over here? Okay.
Yeah. One thing that you can do to avoid a lot of miscommunication is define 4 different ways to be intimate. One way could be going out to dinner. Have a code for these things so when you say, you know what, I want, and whatever name you give it is up to you, and that means a night out on the town with dinner. Another one is, I just want to be home, see you in something sexy when I get there. Let's drink a bottle of wine and cuddle. The other one is, we need to get the hell out of town and go on a vacation. and you know what I'm saying? And either go to another city 100 miles away, because one thing about being in Texas, we have Austin, we have Dallas, we have San Antonio, we have so many wonderful places that we can go that nothing looks like the other place.
Yeah.
So there are many ways that we can redefine intimacy, sexuality, and last but not least, guys, if you are having dysfunction, see your doctor, because there are lots of things that can be done for women and for men to give you that vigor back and make it a pleasurable experience for both you and your mate.
All right, break out the Barry White CD. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. Trust is essential to a relationship, so when someone cheats and the trust is broken, what happens next? Michael says instead of divorce, it can actually do the opposite, and we touched on that earlier about how it can make your marriage stronger. We're going to go into more of how to make your marriage stronger.